Hi guys. Regarding the abundance, the topic is very interesting, especially how semen retention may affect it. Abundance can be of two types, internal and external. Now I'll tell you a little about the difference between them. Internal abundance is the semen retention. When you practice abstinence, your material needs decrease. You don't need to earn a lot of money because you don't need women. You don't need to attract them. You don't need to spend money on dates, gifts, or anything else. You don't need to support children. This way you start to have everything you need. You achieve self-sufficiency. External abundance refers to the material resources a person possesses. We can see this an example of various wealthy people. Externally, they seem to have everything, but it is just external sufficiency because they still feel some lack. Something is missing for them. They want to earn more and more. They compete with each other, comparing who has a more expensive car, more real estate, who has more influence in the society. They find it very difficult to enjoy the success of others. There is nothing more painful than the success of competitors. They hate you inside and smile outside, hiding their duplicity. So, external abundance is always illusory because people strive to become richer than their competitors. It resembles a competition of who can accumulate more. If you don't accumulate more than your neighbor, then your neighbor will be richer and consider you a poor loser. This is not true abundance because you still feel vulnerable. You constantly have to control the market situation to make sure competitors don't surpass you. And if these people encounter business problems, they don't feel satisfied. One of the main vices of humanity is envy, which does not depend on the amount of money you have. This envy is also present both in destitute and in wealthy people. The last ones don't envy ordinary people, but envy those who are cooler than them. They really dislike the success of others. It makes them annoyed. Although they try not to show it externally, sometimes such people can be extremely greedy because they believe that if they give something away, they become poorer. Therefore, despite their high level of wealth and external well-being, they constantly feel an internal lack of something. Sometimes these people are deeply unhappy. We can see examples of this. You can find news stories where a person had 9 billion euros and due to a financial crisis ended up owing banks 5 million euros. The person was extremely distraught and committed suicide. It may seem that you still have enough money to live comfortably and enjoy for the rest of your life. But no, the person lost his status, his self-esteem and his social circle because their so-called well-being depended on their material wealth, on how much money they had in their accounts, and he didn't want to look like a loser in his crowd. Money is such an energy. The luck is fickle. Today it may be with you and tomorrow with your competitor. When luck leaves these people, life loses its meaning for them because external factors affect their internal state. They are happy when everything is going well and unhappy when things don't go as they want. And when things go wrong, they become irritable and try to splash their annoyance to others, especially those dependent on them. However, they are always respectful and polite to those above them, especially those on whom their business depends. Because hypocrisy is a characteristic of human nature, it has been so since time of immemorial. Like it was in ancient times, the owner had slaves working on plantations. The owners humiliated the slaves for the slightest offense. The slaves, in his turn, hates his master, thinks about his harsh fate and injustice. But if the master makes such a slave the overseer above the other slaves, the slave immediately feels his greatness and starts to despise the other slaves under his command. He considers them losers, failures. He displays his power over them, but towards his master, he always smiles and remains polite. This is because no matter what his position, a slave remains a slave. A slave hates a master who despises him because the slave himself wants to become a master and have his own slaves. Therefore, the slave mentality stays with the person, regardless of what position he may take in the society. He may even climb the social ladder and hold high government position, but the slave mentality remains with him. Such a mindset kinda despising those below you and kissing ass to those above you. So guys, there is no true abundance here. Even if you have material wealth and high social position, the tendency towards lickspittle remains. You always remain a slave whom someone will mistreat. The whip of the master will always be over you. And this slave mentality is also evident in modern people on a daily level. For example, a person strives to show others his high status, and he works hard towards it, finally buying an expensive car. He drives around on that car, showing off to everyone what cool guy he is. He is happy, his self-esteem grows, his greatness reaches the sky. He kinda become proud, looking down on his friends, not considering ordinary people as equals because they don't and will never have a car like this. He has a business-like appearance. The car shines because it's painted with expensive pearl paint. The alloy wheels sparkle, passerby turn to look at the rumble of its powerful engine. And this happiness carries him to the heavens. He almost sees God's bead and almost grab hold of it. He almost considers God his lucky. Life is perfect. Live and rejoice. Trees, houses, and silhouettes of some insects flicker past the window. Pitiful little people who will never earn enough money for such a car. After all, God has chosen me specifically and gave me this car to show those pitiful little people how great I am. Here is his mindset. But suddenly, for some reason, God's bead slips out of the hands. Around the corner appears the acquaintance with the same car, just newer version, a restyled one. The girl with that guy looks more attractive, with bigger breasts and fuller lips. And this acquaintance looks at him in disregard like a nobody, like a loser, because you have the previous version, and for him that's already an old bucket, not a car. Then our friend realizes that God has deceived him and did not give him the best. And he asks himself, how is that possible? I put so much effort to buy the best car and my neighbor still has something better. He feels hurt, deeply unhappy. His expensive car no longer brings him joy. He starts to see himself as a failure, a nobody, a pauper. He pushes himself once again and says, I will prove to everyone that I am the best. I am the greatest. And he works hard again, saves money and buys another car even more expensive than before. For a while he feels satisfied with life, until he finally meets his acquaintance and learns that that guy has bought an even more expensive car and a house in an upscale neighborhood. He finds out that his acquaintance acquired this easily without much effort, and he asks himself, WTF? And he falls from the heavens into the very mud, into the very feces. He stops sleeping because life is disappointing for him. And that WTF is going. Nothing brings joy. And so life goes on. You are never satisfied because deep inside you, you remain a slave of your insatiable lust. Abundance is an internal state of comfort. If it's not there, then there is no any abundance. So, how they say, he is rich who is content with the least, for contentment is the wealth of nature. This is true abundance. You may not even have all the enormous material resources, but simply have the essentials while enjoying life and always remaining positive, no matter what is happening in your life. So, if you want to achieve external material abundance in order everyone to envy you, then you need a wife, because your wife will constantly blow your mind for bringing little, earning little, and you will work 3 times as hard. Certainly you will have an external abundance. Women are very fond of material wealth and external appearance. It is important for them to look good so that their girlfriends would be jealous towards them. And it happens like that. You work hard trying to earn money for your family and children, took out loans for needs of your family, to buy real estate, a car, all other needs. And then your wife files for divorce, and almost always the children remain with the wife. And thus she seizes 2/3 or all of your property, and you are left with unfinished loans and debts. This is all an external abundance which is not stable and reliable, like this world. Therefore, internal abundance is true abundance. when you don't have anything extra and you don't bust your ass to keep what you have. You're happy with what God has given you. This is a real abundance. The abundance is when wealth comes to you naturally, when initially you did not strive for it. For instance, creative individuals or those passionate about their work sometimes become famous, and material prosperity comes to them as the result of their fame, providing if they maintain their original attitude towards people that does not change with material success. Some people, of course, develop a star disease. Their ego inflates to such hypertrophic sizes that it seems to no longer fit in the universe. And that's not good, because success can leave you and you may end up being sidelined, forgotten, and die in oblivion. But if a person feels God in their heart, they always treat people equally despite their success, and that is true abundance. Because the richest one is God, everything belongs to Him. If you feel His presence in your heart, His state of abundance is transmitted to you. You feel that you have everything you need. You are happy because people who feel God in their hearts are always happy, regardless of their material wealth, material position. Somehow one should strive towards this kind of abundance. And guys, the semen retention helps you control your lust. It's precisely the lust that makes you chase material status to attract more women. And it'll be a constant rat race, because women and family represent external abundance. You will always work hard to maintain them. And when you get tired, wanna rest, you'll be kicked away and a new provider will be found. But the semen retention gives you internal true abundance. This abundance is within you, and nobody can take it from you. And it's independent of your external status. That's the gist of it, guys. Preserving semen gives you something that they can't buy even for a huge amount of money, for millions of dollars. That's what I wanted to share with you today. Write in the comments what you think about all that, or your topics you want to discuss. Thank you for watching. Thank God. Bye.